Hello and a warm welcome to Well This Week by latestlaws.com. This is a weekly program, so hit the bell icon to get notifications for new videos. My name is Sheetal Joon, Associate Editor, latestlaws.com, and I will be taking you through the significant orders and judgments passed by various courts in the country and some important international news from this week. Let's begin with Supreme Court this. In a major ruling, the Supreme Court has rejected petitions seeking 100% verification of votes cast on electronic voting machines with paper slips generated through the VVPAT method. The two-judge bench of Justice Sanjeev Khanna and Justice Dipankar Datta delivered two separate but concurring judgments. Justice Khanna stated that the court had rejected all petitions, including those requesting a return to use ballot papers in elections. The court said it has given two directions. One direction is after the completion of the symbol loading process, the symbol loading unit SLU should be sealed and they should be stored at least for a period of 45 days. The Supreme Court has observed that the Constitution is intended to bring about a sense of social transformation, and it would be dangerous to say that the private property of an individual cannot be regarded as material resource of community and taken over by the state authorities to subvert common good. The observation was made by a 9-judge bench headed by CJD Chandrachud, examining whether privately owned resources can be considered material resources of the community when the Council for Parties, including the Property Owners Association (POA) of Mumbai, made vehement submissions that the private properties cannot be taken over by the state authorities under the garb of constitutional scheme of Article 39B and 31C of the Constitution. The bench was considering the vexed legal question arising from the petitions whether private properties can be considered material resources of the community under Article 39B of the Constitution, which is part of the directive principles of state policy. The Supreme Court has said that the equal participation of women in the workforce is a matter of constitutional duty, observing the importance of childcare leaves for mothers of children with disabilities. A bench comprising of Chief Justice of India D.Y. Chandrachud and Justice J.B. Pardiwala held that denying childcare leaves (CCL) to mothers of children with disabilities would violate this constitutional duty to ensure equal women participation in the workforce. Observing the issue as serious, the bench hearing a petition said that the participation of women in the workforce is not a matter of a privilege, but a constitutional requirement, and the state as a model employer cannot be oblivious to this. The court also ordered that the centre be made party to the case and sought the assistance of Additional Solicitor General Aishwarya Bhatti in adjudicating it. Following its examination of Patanjali, the Supreme Court has broadened its scrutiny to include misleading advertisements by fast-moving consumer goods (FMCG) companies. It also requested 3 union ministries to detail the action taken to combat deceptive advertising practices which negatively impact public lives. Justice Hima Kohli and Justice Ihsanuddin Anamullah, forming the bench, emphasized the importance of investigating not only Patanjali but all FMCG companies engaging in misleading advertisements that harm public health, particularly affecting vulnerable groups such as babies, school children, and senior citizens. The court stressed the need to evaluate the implementation of relevant provisions under the various acts and rules, including the Drugs and Magic Remedies Objectionable Advertisements Act, the Drugs and Cosmetics Act, and the Consumer Protection Act. Now let's have an overview of High Courts. A Hindu woman without having an income of her own has complete rights to enjoy throughout her life the self-acquired property of a dead husband, the Delhi High Court has ruled. In the case of Hindu women who may not have their income, receiving a life estate given to them by their husbands who may predecease them is an essential safeguard for their financial security during their lifetime, observed Justice Pratibha M. Se. Such security is essential to ensure that the woman is not dependent on her children after the demise of her husband. Under such circumstances, the wife has complete right to enjoy the property during her lifetime. She can also enjoy the income from the said property throughout her life, she further said. A division bench of the Kerala High Court has held that individual contractors cannot claim parity of treatment with cooperative entities such as Oralungal Labour Contract Cooperative Society (ULCCS), which are given preference in awarding government contracts. The court dismissed appeals filed by various contractors and writ petitions by Builder Association of India and others challenging government order giving preferential treatment to ULCCS while awarding contracts. The court further observed that the government orders were grounded in well-established principles and economic policies of the government with the backing of the Constitution. Their validity was not tested on the basis of loss or gain to the public exchequer. The division judge bench of the Tripura High Court has held that once the court sets aside an order of punishment on the ground that the inquiry was not properly conducted, the court cannot reinstate the employee. It must remit that the dismissal concerned to the disciplinary authority for it to conduct inquiry from the point that it's to vitiate it and conclude the same. Calcutta High Court, while allowing a petition filed by the petitioner to quash the order passed by Special Judge White, which it took cognizance of the offence on the ground that there is sufficient material to proceed against the accused persons, held that unless there is a specific order under section 156(3) of the CrPC passed by the magistrate or special judge directing the police authority to treat the complaint as an FIR and register a specific case, any complaint sent for inquiry under section 202 of the CrPC cannot be registered as an FIR. The Madras High Court has expounded that gratification made to the electors in the form of money, food, prizes, etc. would demolish the very basic structure of the constitution and democracy. The court noted that such offences has been treated as an offence punishable for an imprisonment to an extent of 1 year. Resultantly, the practice of distributing money or gifts to the voters have not been reduced, and the case reported by distribution of money during elections are rising in every election. Moving on to international news this week. Harvey Weinstein's 2020 rape conviction has been overturned by New York's highest court on Thursday. The court's majority said that it is an abuse of judicial discretion to permit untested allegations of nothing more than bad behavior that destroys the defendant's character but sheds no light on their credibility as related to the criminal charge lodged against them. The 72-year-old was convicted in 2020 for first-degree criminal sexual act and third-degree rape. He was subsequently sentenced to 23 years in prison. British Sikh lawyers have come together to set up a new court as a dispute resolution forum for the community caught up in family and civil disputes. The new court will operate remotely and in person and will comprise around 30 magistrates and 15 judges, of whom most will be women. The magistrates will mediate between parties to negotiate a settlement, as well as directing them to a course to help them to work on specific issues. The US Supreme Court has heard arguments on Thursday on whether a former president is immune from criminal prosecution and appeared poised to issue a ruling that could further delay Donald Trump's trial on charges of conspiring to overturn the 2020 election. The historic case, the last in the court's current term, has far-reaching implications for executive power and Trump's multiple legal issues as he seeks the White House again. At least 4 and possibly 5 of the conservative justices on the 9-member court appear to take issue with a lower court ruling that a former president does not enjoy absolute immunity from criminal prosecution after leaving office. In the end, we have miscellaneous news. The Supreme Court on Friday issued a notice to the Election Commission of India, ECI, on a public interest litigation seeking re-poll in seats where majority of votes polled are none of the above nota. A bench headed by CJ Chandrachud said that this is about electoral process also. Let us see what the Election Commission has to say. The Supreme Court has announced the integration of WhatsApp messaging services with its IT services. Launched in the Diamond Jubilee year of the Supreme Court, the initiative is aimed at strengthening the right to access justice and enhancing transparency in the judicial system at the Supreme Court. Through this service, advocates on record party in person will receive automated messages regarding electronic filing, cause list, orders, judgments. All members of the Bar and Registry officials will be able to receive cause list and as when published by the registry. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. This is a weekly program, and to get more information, please check the description box, and for weekly updates, like and subscribe to our channel.